back to sunny Tucson, Arizona, where the demo work continues on the Casita, which will be the future office and studio space that I use to communicate with y'all. Very excited for this renovation. The best part, though, of course, is demo work because you get to tear stuff up, and hopefully not your back, which this guy, being in his 40s, it happens. At any rate, so far so good. Gotten all the floor up, which is great. A lot of that old Saltillo tile gone. Now we're into the walls. So the good and the bad part of demo work is, yes, the fun, you get to break things, but the bad is you open up walls and you find surprises. Sometimes surprises are good or interesting, and sometimes bad. All right, so let's start with the bad news. In Arizona, particularly southern Arizona, termites are endemic, and so not surprisingly, I have found a fair amount of termite damage. Thankfully, none of the studs are too degraded, which means I'll be able to treat them or replace them pretty easily. Good news. The other really interesting thing that I found about this Casita was when it was built, they used sawdust for insulation. Now, many years ago, this was pretty common, and actually I remember my granny telling me that they used to use sawdust to keep themselves warm in some of these small little farms that they used to live in when she was a little girl. So what's really cool about this, so you can just pull it down from the wall, you can see just dust, sawdust, right? And what they would also do is they would use paper then. So once they put the sawdust down in between the studs, they would seal it up. Now what was interesting, what my granny used to tell me, was they would take newspaper, because they didn't have sawdust, and they would just take clumps of it, even from old catalogs, and they would shove it in between the studs. They would actually glue it, and then put more paper on top of it. And what was really great was she told me a story once when she and my granddad were in the middle of what she calls the Tules, which is in the middle of nowhere, and it was an incredibly cold winter. Lots of wind coming through, super cold. The newspaper installation was not working, and they had a goldfish. All right, well, this is the story she told me anyway. They had a goldfish, and overnight it got so cold that the water inside the fish tank froze, and the poor little goldfish froze with it. Now, my granddad, of course, said, "Don't worry, I got this." Puts it on top of the wood stove, the water melts, and back to life comes Mr. Goldfish. Now, I don't know if that story is true, but I love it. I wanted to share it with you because as I'm doing this demo work, it was neat to kind of come across something that reminded me of my grandma, and I think really some of the early days of this country, which shows you that we're a pretty strong people at the end of the day. So anyway, hope everybody's having a great week. I send my level best from Tucson. More to come on the wonderful and hopefully successful renovation of the office and studio. Can't wait to show you more.